Day 13. And I'm up a little later than usual this morning, 6 o'clock. Got the yawns. Oh, let's get this. This fingers are dry. Let's get this medical stuff. You know, these things are hard to. You reach in here to get one, you come back with 3 or 4, and they're so thin they're hard to get apart. And I usually wind up dropping 1 or 2, but I managed to get one out that time. And I'm going to say my blood sugar is probably pretty much normal. I don't feel jittery or anything out of the norm, so let's draw a little blood. And I'm getting tired of sticking myself. Daggone, ow! Them things used to didn't hurt. But now let's get a little blood in there, and there it is. Alright. What is it? 131. That's a little bit higher. What did I eat last night? I can't even remember what I ate last night. 131. Okay. Now, let's change needles on this thing. And get a new one. Pop the top. Set it at 50. Oops, not that much. There we go. 50 units. Through the shirt. Away from the nipples. There's my 50 units. Now, that part took care of. I'm going to have to start taking my pills online too, because yesterday morning I didn't take my meds. I'm going to start making this part of the ritual too. There we go. I don't have as many pills in the morning as I do at night. That won't bad now. What is it? I got a new subscriber. Nothing Star. Pretty little lady. Yes. Looks like she might be shoot, from this picture, she could be 20 or she could be 30. Pretty lady. And if she's married, some lucky feller is waking up to a nice little sight every morning. Nothing star. Let's see if she's got any content. I think all you people that subscribe, I don't know what you see in me. Well, maybe I'm corny and you like corny. I don't know. Let's see what she's got here. That coffee's a little off this morning. Oh, I know why it's off. I made a pot last night and I only drank 1 cup. And I reheated what was left, so it's not fresh. That's the frugal in me. I don't like throwing nothing away, you know. I don't know why I'm like that. I don't like to waste stuff, especially food. I am fixing to get me a new computer. Probably another 2 or 3 weeks, but I'm getting me a new computer and I'm getting me a new video camera. A couple other things. I got a little windfall coming up of, well, when I say windfall, it's not much, you know, $400 or $500. Which I don't normally have. I won't go into detail on that. Boy, this computer is so good. Lord, look at all the, ain't no wonder. That's another thing about this computer. It good gosh. Now, sometimes when I click with this button, you have to click twice and then it winds up shooting 2 or 3 requests. They all start trying to come in, and I have to go in there and catch it and click them off. And it's still slow. Nothing star. Oh, she's got 384 subscribers. So, yes, ma'am, I'll subscribe to you. Let's see. And what is she into here? She's got a looks like she has took a RV and chopped off half of it, kept the front part with a little living space there, and then the back part she put rails on it and looks like she's made a truck out of it. What is that all about? I'm gonna have to. Oh, she likes to explore. She likes to. I guess I need to read about. Come join us on our journey through life. Anything from living in a junkyard, restoring an RV, exploring abandoned places, traveling, and First Amendment audits. I'm gonna like this lady. And her banner says, "You are nowhere." Abandoned gas station in Baker, California. Now, I like doing stuff like that she seems to be doing here, and yeah, I'll have to look at some of her videos. I like this. Now, let's see what my messages are. Oh, WireX. That's somebody I'm subscribed to. Nothing Star. I like Nothing Star. He's good. Okay. Well, you know, I uploaded some stuff yesterday about my first time I went to the mountains and first time I met my wife and all that stuff. And if I'm talking about the mountains and my in-laws, I gotta say something about my daddy-in-law. He was a genuine mountain hoocher. He really didn't work at nothing. I mean, he worked odd jobs and stuff. He could take a little skill saw, a hatchet, and an axe and a hammer, and build a house. And I know this to be true because I helped him one time with a house. That him and I built it. Well, he actually was the builder. I was just a helper. But we built that house from the ground up. For a lady, she went and bought the lumber, and back up in them hills like that, I guess you were supposed to pull a permit to build that stuff, but you didn't have to. And as I recollect, we didn't pull no permits of any kind. Well, to start with, we couldn't pull a permit. We weren't licensed or anything like that. But we built that house from the ground up. And I seemed like that lady's name was Gladys. I can't remember the last name. This has been many years. This was before I ever even started building furniture. And he would take, you know, if something didn't just fit just right or something, he'd get out that hatchet and do some trimming on that board, and it'd fit. And stuff was plumb. He knew how to plumb everything, but I don't think he could have built that house if he didn't have a hatchet and an axe to do some trimming with. But we built it, and the lady paid us along. Well, of course, he got more than I did. But I don't know what he made. I can't remember what I made. But we built that house. No permits. The electric somebody else come in there that wasn't a licensed electrician and did most of the wiring. I call him Daddy. He's my daddy-in-law, but I call him Daddy. Daddy's, matter of fact, my knowledge of electrical stuff today is probably a result of what I learned from him. But anyway, we built the house. Passmore, I believe that name was Passmore. Don't take that to the bank, 'cause it might bounce. But Daddy didn't work a regular job. I'm trying to think. I don't know of him ever having a regular job of the 40-something years I knew him. I mean, he did stuff. He built a barn. He cleared right-of-ways under the power lines and stuff like that, which, boy, I tried that one time. I didn't have a job, and the right-of-way people was needing help clearing the right-of-ways, and by that I mean, hold on a minute. By that I mean, when you clear right away, keep in mind this is the mountains. And when they're clearing the right of way, that's under the power line, these big high-powered power lines just way up in there. And you had to keep all the trees and the limbs and brush and stuff trimmed from out from under the power lines. And they're not little bushes. I mean, them suckers is like 7, 8 foot tall. So I decided I was going to try that one day. And I met where we were supposed to meet, and they hauled us off to this other area and give us a bush axe or whatever we was using, and showed us right there, you know. And I'm like looking at that, and you can't see over it. Stuff, like I said, 7, 8 foot tall. And I ain't a mountain person yet. Well, I never was a mountain person. I was a mountain person wannabe. But I looked at that, and I might have took 1 or 2 swings at the bushes. And now this is going uphill too. I'm like, there ain't no way in hell I can do this. I could have done it, but I wasn't inclined to do that. That just scared the pee-hunk. And then I was hearing tales about snakes and all this stuff, and they had copperheads up there a lot, probably rattlesnakes too. But I just quietly laid my bush axe down and acted like I was going off in the bushes to take a pee. And I made a beeline out of there and had no way to get back home. We was like 20 miles from where I lived. And I had to walk and hitchhike and all that stuff to get back home. Of course, Daddy got a charge out of that. I couldn't, I left. Didn't nobody know where I went. I quit. Boy, Now, if I'd have been raised up there and everything, I probably could have handled something like that. But I wasn't raised up there, man. Where I was raised, the ground was flat. Wasn't no uphill and downhill. But, no, I couldn't do that. But back to my daddy, he did odd jobs. And the thing he did the most on a regular basis was fish. And I mean fly fishing. He was a trout. He loved fishing with a trout out of that Nantahala River. And the limit is 10. He always caught his limit. And then some. But you better not get caught with anything over the limit. And me, I was lucky if I caught 2. But he taught me a lot about fly fishing. But there was one day in particular, about the middle of the day we started. And he was in one area of the river, I'd be in another little area, and we was fishing. And that day I just got genuinely lucky. I didn't catch my limit. I caught 7. And Daddy knew that I was having a good day, and he was worried that I done caught more fish than him. And he won't about let that happen. Even the place I was fishing the most, that little area I was in, he was telling me that was, I really need to get out of there. That was called Rattlesnake Curve and all that stuff, and that's where I was catching the fish. And he was so worried that I had caught more fish than him, that he fished. It was getting dark. It was time to go. And I wouldn't tell him how many I had. And he wouldn't quit fishing. He fished, you couldn't see the line hit the water, it was so dark. I mean, I think he caught 12 that day. But he was worried. He was worried. I'd give anything if I'd had 2 or 3 more to throw in there. But I never had beat him. I wouldn't even try to beat him, but he'd catch them trout. And I sure did love to eat them things. No, so I didn't beat him that day. Surely didn't. I hooked one in there one time. He got me started making my own flies, tying my own dry flies. And I had made this fly, and I don't know what it looked like, but I was trying it out. And I'm going to tell you what, and this is the one that got away. You know how what to say about this, but this is gospel. This is the truth. I swear, when that trout hit that fly, I was bringing it back. I throwed it down at the end of a little eddy, and I was bringing it back up through that eddy. And that sucker hit that thing, and I never felt a trout jerk that hard on. I mean, I didn't even have to set the hook. He hit it so hard he set it himself. But he didn't set it enough, obviously. And he come out of that water one time. He come out of that water about 3 foot and sit there and shook and threw that hook out of his mouth. And I'm not exaggerating. That fish was probably in the 20-something inch range, which is big for trouts up there. And it wasn't a stock trout. I could tell it was a native. Stock trout ain't that big. They can grow that big, but stock trout's where the hatcheries bring in loads of small baby fish and release them in the river. And they'd have to do that because there was so much fishing going on, and had to keep them replenished. But a native trout, you can tell a native trout by the way their fins were. A native trout, their fins are not clipped. Stock trout, the fins are clipped, and that's to keep them from jumping in the hatcheries from one area to another. But they grow out. Once they've been in the river a while, they go out. But most of the time, them stock, they're not really educated. They get caught pretty quick. But a native trout's smart. Boy, I used to love to do that. Love to eat them things. My goodness. First one I ever caught. My wife was there. See that? That's from 3 days ago. And besides, there ain't no rules about what you eat for breakfast or lunch or dinner. It's just whatever you feel like eating, right? And I believe that soup be easier on my stomach than the eggs and the sausage and the grits or bacon or whatever I was going to fix. I had a tip about we're talking about that trout fishing. And my daddy-in-law, he always told me, he said, you don't wait when you got that fly in the water, you don't wait till you feel it to jerk or set the hook. He said, if you wait till you feel it, you done waited too long because that trout done grabbed it and spit it out by the time you feel it. And he said, you gotta watch where your fly's at. And you gotta watch for that flash. You see a flash of white belly on that trout, and it's just an instant when he's going up there and grabbing. He said that's when you set the hook. And you can't just see it and then just jerk like you're pulling 20 pounds out of there. You gotta do it, you get a hit a happy medium there. He said because them trout, the mouth on a trout ain't like one of them big old tough basses or something. He said the mouth is tender and you'll jerk the mouth right off that trout if you jerk too hard. And all you have is fish lips, if you got that. But there's a whole lot of truth in that. He knew his fishing. Yes, sir. He's a good man. I think the day he died, he come home. He might even fish that day, I don't know. He just come home and sat in his chair and he liked to watch that wrestling. And he's watching wrestling, and he just passed away sitting there in his chair. And he had just started drawing his Social Security. He had got his first check, and that was it. He didn't get no more. So I mean, I think that means he was 62. That was young. Besides that, that river fishing, Daddy liked to fish up on the lake too, Nantahala Lake. And they fish for pike up there. At least that's what they call them, pike. I don't know if it's pike or not, but they sure had teeth, I know that. And it was a good eating fish. But they'd do it at night up there on that lake. They'd get in a boat and they'd hang a lantern over the side, the light, you know, a Coleman lantern. It's pretty bright. That supposedly would attract the fish, but they'd go out about 30 foot, 40 foot from the bank and cast their bait towards the bank and pull it back to them. And they was calling that swarping. I love that night fish. Man, you'd be out there, you hear a few crickets, you'd hear the bullfrogs. That was wonderful. Man, my wife caught one out there one time bigger than any I had caught. I had to net it for her. I told her if it wasn't for me, she'd have never got it, because I was the one that netted that thing. I caught a few. I never was that lucky. I couldn't get nobody to go fishing with me. I'd get lost on that lake. I didn't know that lake that well. That was a pretty big lake for a man-made lake. That's what powered the. That's where the water come from to power the powerhouse. You know, the hydroelectric. That's where they got their electricity. But that was, and every year in July 4th weekend, the factories that I worked at, that factory would shut down for a week every year during the 4th of July week, and that's when everybody got their vacations. And our families would go up to a place on the lake there, it's called the CC camps. It didn't cost nothing to set up there. You just went out there and you set up your camp and everything. There was all kinds of people out there. And some of them people have been coming there like that for years. And we'd set up and have our tents and all that stuff. And I had one brother-in-law, him and his wife was constantly water skiing. And me, I was just wanting to fish. Bring back memories. At some point, the CC camps disappeared. By that I mean the power companies wanted to own the lake and all the shore line around it. And that was stayed private land for years and years, and then the power company decided to start selling the lakefront lots in there. And pretty soon all that was private. You couldn't go on it. There was only 3 or 4 places that you could have access to even get in the dang lake. But when they started selling the property, that kind of ruined it. And it was the same thing down on the river too. The river, they owned the property along the river. I don't think you could actually own the river, but they owned the property shoreline around it. And they even started selling the shoreline along the river, even started selling that. And it got to where there were several places, the only few places you could still get in the river. Kind of ruined it, really. And there's a lot of people coming in, you know, from Florida and up north, and then buying property and everything, you know. It's different than it was. Used to, you didn't have no city slickers in there, and it was all just local people had been living, the family been living there for years. Now all that's gone now. I mean, there's still a few local people up there, but it's not like it was. Not like it was. I guess that's it from my daddy's story today. Miss that old man. Of course, I'm older than he was then.